5. Well, if it's Tuesday, you can bet that I am here and it is time for comic book school. Let me just tell you, I'm coming back after a little bit of a break. Not the greatest break I've ever had. So what we're going to do is we're just going to adjust that camera a little bit. And we're just going to bring Mike on. Mike, welcome to the show. A little bit of cheering and clapping.
Thank you. Thank you, cheering and clapping.
I think part of the cheering and clapping really has to go to you, Mike. Past 2 weeks, I had to take off for unfortunate reasons. But, Mike, I haven't watched the shows yet. I will.
You're probably better off not watching.
Yeah. But I did listen in when you had Russ Wooten on. I have not yet checked out Brian Cunningham's episode. How'd you do?
I was the best host on Comic Book School for that night.
For that night. Yes. So I think, you know what, I will check it out. You know, it's a little harder to do than you think, right? Once you start trying to work the buttons and all those other things.
You gotta do your presentation and you gotta click through the slides.
Yeah. It looks easy on paper, but it's a little tricky, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm still I can click on things now even when I'm in here now. I feel
you're a little scarred from it, right?
Yeah.
It's harder than it looks, but you know what? I think it was a good experience, and I think it was nice that people got to just see a little bit of Mike.
Wow. You got to see a lot of Mike flubbing.
A lot of Mike.
We did our best.
So, Mike, here we're going to just pull up the slides real quick. I'm going to share. I'm a little not quite as with it as I usually am. Let me just see if I can find my slides. There you go.
Do you do your slides or do you just share your screen?
No, I share a screen, which is a PowerPoint screen.
See, I was just doing slides. Like I put a little presentation in Keynote together, and I would just click through the slides there.
Well, that works. It worked. You know, I glanced over my shoulder a few times, saw things. So, a little bit of sad story. My dad joins my mom in heaven, Mike.
Yes, I'm very sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a heavy heart. You know, my mom passed during COVID. That was pretty devastating, and thank God that the comic book school community stuck with the show. We had some guest hosts, but you know, Mike, you really stepped up. This is my dad at a young age. He was a big, burly weightliftery type of guy.
Lou.
Yeah, and there he is with my mom, looking pretty 70s badass.
Yeah.
Right? He had the 70s badass thing going on. It funny how much hair he had lost between that photo on the left and the photo on the right.
Yeah, it happens. I know.
It happens. And then this was a young one of me and my dad, and a later one. That's Dad congratulating me, I think, on my communion. I have to tell you, that white blazer, I wish I still had it.
I wish you had that whole outfit.
That is a pretty snaz outfit, isn't it?
Yeah,
and thank you, Glenn. I appreciate it. It was rough, and I appreciate that you guys stuck around. And my dad was a loyal viewer of the show, Mike.
He was. Is that a Fudgy the Whale on the
It
right?
certainly is. It's a Fudgy the Whale for a whale of a dad, and we have matching shirts that say, "I'm not sleeping, I'm resting my eyes."
I do that often. Yes.
I do that. I was doing that just before we joined the show. I'm literally wearing the shirt that I went and napped in. But yeah, it was a rough go, Mike. It's rough to see my dad, who was, as you can see, standing next to that rock,
Yep.
the strongest man in the world. He was my superhero. To be laid low by old age, disease, and sickness. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's not fun. It's not fun at all.
It is not fun. So, I have to tell you, for many of us, it's one parent or another who gets you into comics. For the reading of the comics, we'll go back. We'll show my mother. I wouldn't read. So, according to my mother, I would read comic books. Go
Which is
figure.
much
And I
fun.
love Spider-Man, still do. So she said early on, Mike, any reading is good reading. So my mom got me to read comic books, and my father was an accomplished artist and sculptor, and was the first guy who really taught me how to understand visual storytelling, and would teach me like what was happening inside the panel of a comic book.
Oh, so that's how you got so knowledgeable.
I certainly did. It was two
Hmm.
awesome parents who really did work very hard to make sure that I was well nourished
In the
in the
brain.
word in the form of comic books. So thank you everybody for your kind words. Those of you who reached out, Mike, thank you. Hold on, let me get to the applause again. Thank you again for being a stand-up guy. You were awesome. You pulled together two guests. How did it go with Russ and Brian? What'd you guys talk about?
I think it went pretty good. Russ, we talked about lettering. He told us all about, what to do and what not to do and how to do it and how it all comes together to make good comics. And Brian, we learned all about Ghost Machine, the new comic book company led by Jeff Johns and all, Brad Meltzer, a bunch of comic book writers and just novel writers and everything, just good writers and artists and colorists, everything coming together to bring their own superhero sort of universe together.
Well, I look forward. I hope people like, comment, and subscribe, and check out your videos. Who did those graphics, Mike?
I did those graphics, but and,
You
and
did?
both Russ and Brian commented on my use of Comic Sans for their names. They
I
did
gotta
not
tell
like
you,
that
Mike,
at all.
those were some designs. I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't know what else to say. Those are some designs.
yep, I did them. I did them. I was proud of them.
You know what? You did a good job. You kept the show live. You kept things going. I've been in a strange reading mood, a little bit melancholy. I wanted to show you a few things that I was reading, and show you a few things that I took out of the library, because I've been very into both. For some reason, Conan the Barbarian, and I'll go
You
bigger
love
screen.
Conan.
I have always loved Conan, but I'm gonna go a little bit bigger. Hold on. So I read this, Mike. This is the official story of the film. I'm trying to make it not reflect too badly. Remember when we used to be able to do this? I have to fix that.
Yeah, good times.
So this book has hundreds of photos from the comic book to the movie, which I have always loved. This movie, it dives deeply into all aspects of it. I will tell you, like looking at the behind the scenes, the original sets, I learned a lot. Do you know the original screenwriter for this was indeed Oliver Stone?
Really,
Yes,
I did not know that.
he had written this intending this to be a almost like an MCU type of series where you would have different analyses of the characters. He saw it as approximately 10 films. Now, at the time, he wanted a budget of $100 million at a time when films were hovering around 20 million. They show all the behind the scenes of all the weaponry. My only complaint to this book at $50, it is a little small
Yeah,
for $50. It's a lot of Photos, I appreciate the larger size. It was directed by John Milius, famous for quite a few movies, including being a script doctor. Hold on, Oliver Stone. Yeah, Oliver Stone went crazy with the script. He did call for things that were technically not possible at the time,
Like
like
cell phone?
1,000 orcs attack a castle, right? Things that would not be possible without CG. But Oliver Stone did go crazy. John Milius, famous for writing quite a few films and directing quite a few films. Most notably, I love that he wrote the scene as a script doctor about the sinking of the Indianapolis in the Jaws movie.
Oh,
He was
okay.
brought in to punch up the scene, and
You did.
yep. And so Arnold Schwarzenegger waited several years to play the role. They give background on Arnold. They give background on all the characters. I went back and I've been rereading all of the original Conan novels. All of
Hmm.
the original Conan novels. Glenn gives me a
Oh.
cool. Which have you ever read the original Conan novels?
No.
All right, so I paid for on Amazon the complete Robert E. Howard collection, the complete collection. Robert E. Howard from Cross Plains, Texas, was a troubled young man in the 1920s. Started writing as a teenager, and um, approximately from around his early 20s, he wrote over 2,600 pages
Wow.
on the
Yeah, on the old
typewriter,
typewriter.
and committed suicide at age 30.
Yeah.
So he wrote Conan for approximately 4 years, but wrote other notable characters: Red Sonja, Kull, Bran Morn, Solomon Kane, most notably for Conan. But I've just been on a Conan kick recently.
How many novels did he write?
I think there was approximately 14, but they were novelettes. None of them were very long. At the time when pulps came out, if you remember, old sci-fi books were rather thin,
Yeah,
right? They were intended to be slipped into your back pocket.
like comics.
Yeah, like it, but today's books are doorstops, and I sometimes I don't enjoy really. Some people love a big thick book. I personally, I just don't have the patience for it anymore.
You want just a medium-sized book.
I just want the best part of the story, cut everything else out.
Hmm. Okay, good to know. When I write my
Right.
novel, I'll keep that in mind.
If you're following a character and they are in their kitchen pouring coffee, right? You don't need that much description.
They're in
You
the kitchen pouring coffee.
just get to the point. If it matters how they are like Lovecraft stories, but the main characters are not college going nerdy ass weaklings, but massive slabs of beef, like you, Mike.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Although you went to college,
I
you are
did
a
go.
slab of beef.
Nerdy ass weakling.
But I think what was interesting was they did write tight at that time. Writing was a lot leaner, even though they did have a lot of description. So going back and reading the Robert E. Howard stuff, it was a product of his time. It wasn't exactly what you by today's standards you'd consider politically current or correct or even acceptable. There are
Yeah.
a lot of old books that don't hold up to today's standards, but still, I'm checking out a lot of Conan. I've been reading a lot of the Conan comic books again, the Conan books. So been getting into that. What are your thoughts, Mike? Do you like Conan? Are you a Conan fan?
I mean, I like the movie. I like the first one. And like I said, never read the comics. I think or never read the novels. I may have read a couple of the comics here and there, but never, never anything too into it.
I'm an obsessed Conan fan. I
Hmm.
have nearly the complete run of the Marvel books and just about every other iteration published
Hmm.
of Conan, from Dark Horse to everything in between, to
Maybe
the
I'll have to look
current
that up.
Marvel, to the stuff being published internationally.
Is
Oh,
is
hey, Mams, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us, Mams.
is Conan still being published now? Like, is
It
there
certainly
like a
is by a
new
couple of
Conan out?
different publishers, yeah, a couple different publishers. Apparently, there's a company publishing the Cimmerian, which is Conan, a company that's publishing Conan, the Barbarian. There's quite a lot of activity and apparently lawsuits flying around, but there are some really satisfying Conan books coming out from Marvel Comics these days.
Hmm.
And
Maybe I'll
Titan.
have to
Now
check it
Titan
out.
has the license. Quite good.
Maybe we should check them out on here.
I will. I will certainly. I'll get back to it. So, another thing that I wanted to touch on was, Mike, do you remember back when we were in the Wizard days and um, we came up with this idea, which was, it's a little bit, hold on. You want to read this one out?
It's like pro wrestling for me. I don't love it, but it's adjacent to everything I do love.
Hmm.
Hmm.
All
All right,
right.
Glenn.
I like that. Well said.
Glenn loves adjacents.
So back in the Wizard days, for those of you who had computers and were paying for America Online, Mike, we didn't realize how fortunate we were. We didn't pay for the internet. Remember, people
We
paid for
did
the
not.
internet. We got it for free through Wizard. So when we were doing Wizard World, one of the things that we were trying to do is get community generated content. That is, the audience, if you recall, wrote the content. Remember, Asteroid X would write articles about the X-Men.
I don't remember that at all.
Then we had a feature which we had Lars Pearson.
I
Remember
remember
Lars?
Lars.
Lars Pearson write, and some this exists somewhere, the Wayback Machine or something, where we did something called Everything of,
Don't remember that either.
and we did everything of, and we would pick a topic like
Oh,
Grendel, and we would do everything of Grendel, including anything, merchandise, comics, books, novels, films, tie-ins. And we did Strangers in Paradise. We did we did Grendel. Grendel was a big one that we had done. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because they just not too long ago re-released Devil by the Deed. Do you remember reading Grendel, Devil by the Deed, Mike?
I don't think I ever read Grendel.
Okay, so Grendel is another favorite of mine. So Matt Wagner had a very innovative art and design style, and it was how do I turn this like this? And very Art Deco, lots of like bold coloring choices. As you can see, he did everything black, white, and red in this particular series. So he had done a lot of very innovative storytelling techniques. In the original Devil by the Deed was a much thinner book. It is now 30-something years old, and original creator Matt Wagner went back and retold the Devil by the Deed story. With 30 years of Grendel publishing experience, he came back and redid Devil by the Deed, which once again was a rather thin story. Now, for those of you who did not read Devil by the Deed, I will not spoil it for you because it is quite impactful even today. Matt Wagner was a very young artist, but when he came back and redid Devil by the Deed, he took into account a much wider story, a much more decompressed story, in a lot of ways, the way Brian Bendis approached the Ultimate Spider-Man. If you remember Ultimate Spider-Man, like he didn't even show his powers for like 4 issues or something. Like he was mostly out of costume. He really went in there and decompressed the story. So Devil by the Deed is a revisiting. I've never ever seen anything quite like this before, where an artist goes back and redoes the first story he ever did, the first major graphic novel he ever did of his own character.
He redrew it and everything?
Rewrote and redrew every single page, but he expanded it. It's probably almost triple the length of the original, and it expounds dramatically on all of the backstory, the motivations of minor characters, and elaborates on all of the little nuances that help that character to become the character it was. Now, what's important about this, and I bring it up as part of comic book school, in part because I think it's essential for us to recognize that as a creator, if you publish something and it doesn't exactly come out the way you wanted it to, Your
Redo
choice. Go back and redo it.
it.
You know,
Yeah.
Apocalypse Boulevard, when I did Apocalypse Boulevard, and quite a lot of you supported Apocalypse Boulevard on Kickstarter, that was the second attempt. I came out with an issue of Apocalypse Boulevard. It did not exactly come out the way it was hoped, and I restarted from scratch.
Hmm. I don't think I knew that either.
You didn't know that, did you? Anyway, Mike, so if you're a fan of Grendel, or if you're not a fan of Grendel, both work. This is a very powerful book, excellent production values, beautiful matte cover, beautiful binding. How much is it? So $30. It is a lot of story, a lot of backstory, a lot of back material, and it's just, I can't recommend it highly enough.
I will write that down and get it from the library at some point.
Yes, I hope you do. So, next thing. Do you have anything you want to touch on yet, Mike?
No, not yet.
Not
I'm
yet?
good.
You
I'm,
good?
I'm a listener, bud.
Tonight, I'm just going to ramble a little bit tonight. I hope people can put up with me for tonight. Went to the public library specifically to pick these up to show you guys. So these are these artist editions. So people have seen these art editions for many, many years. I'll start with the Kirby one. So for people who debate, was it Stan, was it Jack? Who was more important in these particular stories? Later issues of the Fantastic Four really have liner notes that show Jack Kirby's thinking and helping to articulate what the character motivations were, what the storyline was, where Jack was quite clearly taking the lead on Fantastic Four. What's amazing about these artist edition is the number of pages that they're able to pull together and get scanned, and you can really just dive in and really get to a sense of just how much effort Jack Kirby put into these pages. Now, at a time when comic artists were still, and to this day, often averaging a page a day, Kirby was doing about 3 pages a day.
Hmm.
So sometimes
Drawing.
more, depending on the deadline, sometimes writing and drawing at the same time. So seeing this is just stunning, and it is an oversized edition. But what I thought was interesting is these are rarely in color, but the Elektra collection gives you some behind the scenes of what Bill Sienkiewicz's original art and color looks like, which is very interesting because the final reproduction obviously much smaller, and the dependent on the printing of the book, and able to see really what Sienkiewicz was doing within these pages, with actual little notes on the side, with discussions of how to color it. And what I like about this is it also shows how, with Russ talking about trapping space for lettering, leaving enough space so that the letterer can fit in all the words that have to go into the page. And you can see at that time, the hand lettering was right there on the board, and sometimes was pasted over if they sometimes had to re-letter it for any reason. It was then glued on or waxed on the page, and sometimes panels had to be replaced or fixed. And you could see that in all of these artist editions. Now, these are from IDW and Marvel together. They are $39 and $39 respectively. If you're a fan of comic art and the process, these really illuminate how the artist made that page. When you see the final art and you see it colored, sometimes it's hard to see what the artist did to create this. When you see it in this form, you really get a deeper understanding of how art and pages are created, Mike.
Now, are those full issues or just certain select pages to be posted?
What's stunning about it is many of these are complete issues. So let's see, the Fantastic Four. This includes FF. I don't know. Can you read that? Hold on. Let me go big. So number 71, annual number 6, issue 82, issue 83, issue 84. So in most of these cases, these are the complete issue. They have somehow compiled all of the original art. And the same thing, it's a little bit different with later art, when creators knew that original art was worth money, but like just to see the paint smearing along the bottom and along the edge is really just amazing, and it shows you what was happening at the time as master artists were creating work on a deadline.
This was back in the day when it wasn't digital.
There was no digital, coloring was laid in later, and then also let's acknowledge that some of it in Bill Sienkiewicz's case was sometimes painted right there on the artboard. There wasn't a lot of room for mistakes.
Yeah. That's confidence going in there like that.
That is confidence. So anyway, I took these out because I've been thinking a lot about these art editions as I was being reflective of thinking about my dad and how he would talk about how art was created. And I was thinking a lot about how we would look at these books together, and he would say, like, deconstruct what's happening on the page, try to understand where the character's eye is looking, how direction goes from left to right, how the size and height of the character is relative to the size and height of another character, how you're looking up to show power or looking down to show weakness. My father was instinctually understood that, even though he wasn't a comic artist, and now I see these in these pages. So a little bit reflective, thanks to my dad.
We passed that on to you. Way to go, Lou.
Way to go, Big Lou. So what should we do next? Should we talk about some other stuff that we are looking at, reading, or otherwise interested in?
Yeah, if you got stuff, you were going to talk about monkeys, weren't you?
We are going to talk about monkeys. I do want to show you. I don't know if I showed you all of these, but some of my recent resin. I don't know. Did I show you that?
Oh, no, I don't think we saw that one. No.
I really love these covers. I have to find a better way to show these because I'm getting too much of a reflection. But this is quite a thick one, as you can see. But I just really loved that cover. So we went full on resin with that. So pretty thick. Angelina Jolie on the back.
Is that the whole issue or just the cover?
Yeah, that is the whole issue. This one, this is a page from Frank Miller and Dave Mazzucchelli. Now that's just one page, but I really like the page behind it with Daredevil doing a jumping sequence over here. So I liked it a lot. I signed it. See that?
I like how you sign.
Yeah, I signed it like this. And so I just kind of thought this is a cool one, a little bit thinner because it's not the full issue. I thought this one was kind of cool. I got a, I had to do better with getting the lighting on this. This is another one. This is just a single page. This is a prototype, Mike. I actually put the comic book school sticker in there. But I just like the way this one came out. This was a nice Submariner issue from 1971. Were you even born at that point, Mike?
I was born in 69. I was born.
Easy there, you little vixen. This is issue number 97 of Fantastic Four. This is just the cover. But the end to the skinny body. Mike, what I find so funny in old comics is the problem that they had was being too skinny.
Yep. I remember all those ads to how to bulk up or get the sea monkeys, all that stuff in there. X-ray specs.
What I am taken by is the number of ads specifically about being too skinny. So I think it's a moment in time that we shall never repeat. This is obviously a Jack Kirby cover. This is, you can see a little bit tighter on the edges with the resin, and it's a little bit smaller. And then this is one of my favorites. It's not popular, but I have always had a soft spot for Millie the model, and I just love the whole girl fantasy of like, I'm a model living the life. And you can't really see it very well here, but I did add some glitter in here. It doesn't really show because I got a backlight to this. But I've always loved Millie the model.
I've never even heard of Millie the model.
I think Millie makes an appearance, if I'm not mistaken, um, in the second season of Jessica Jones.
Huh. I'd
I'm
have
not
to go
sure.
back and rewatch.
Yeah, so that's some of the resin stuff that I've been doing. I've been doing quite a lot of resin recently. Like I said, I've been putting cars into resin. So
Ooh.
this will go into resin. Uh, this I found at Target. There is no more Toys R Us.
Are you still
Um,
doing the hero clicks?
I ran out of Hero Clicks, so I need more Hero Clicks. So people send in Hero Clicks and Matchbox cars so that I can resin them. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of cars recently. So
Nice. Nice.
some of them are it's a little hard. It's hard to do because they're so deep.
Are you still doing them with the circular ones? Or are you going to change up the shapes?
Well, I'm going to change them up. All right, here we go, Mike. I'm going to go off camera for a second. I'm going to and you just vamp for 30 seconds while I get the cars. Okay, so
Oh
explain to
no!
everybody what I'm doing with resin. All right, this is what we're going to do. So, Mike, you take over for a minute.
Oh, this is going to be bad. Yeah. So here we are again. Mike's doing the thing. Oh, my camera is all going fuzzy on me. So yeah. So gang, what do you think of Buddy's resin stuff? Because I think it looks pretty neat. Now, I don't know if I could do all that resin because it looks like a lot of work. And me, I'm kind of lazy when it comes to doing all that. So
All right, so here we are. So recently, I've been doing. So that is a
that's nice.
that is a 1957 Nomad stuck in resin. This one's interesting. I did an ice cream truck. Except here, let me see if I could switch it. Let me see if I can, and then I go bigger. So I did this, but I was starting to make a mistake with this one. So what I ended up doing was having it stick halfway out
Ooh, that's
because I just
nice.
thought, oh, look at that. That
That's
kind of
very
cool.
cool. Yeah, you should do one where the wheels still work so they can still roll it around on the ground. Oh,
Yes.
that's nice.
This one, yeah,
Healthy.
this one, as you can see, I haven't filed off the edges yet, but this was
I like
actually,
that.
yeah, it's just something different. It's a little, just trying things, made some mistakes, and then a pure Hot Wheels. This, there you go.
Nice. You should get tiny little figures and put them in there.
I might. So yes, I need everybody to give me their Matchbox cars, their Hero Clicks figures, and just covers of comic books so that I can put them into resin.
That's nice. You should definitely do a show, at least a part of an episode where we see how you actually do the resin stuff. You did it before, but like
Yeah,
detailed.
I showed you some stuff. So I was definitely I will definitely do that and make you see the inside of the process.
Yeah,
Part of the inside of the process, I'll show you. I'm gonna have to
the
show you.
behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you behind the scenes. So I'm gonna present. Stop. I'm gonna present. Share. Mike, I'm gonna share a tab. Here's sharing. I did a little bit of retail therapy, Mike. Can you see
Wow,
that?
that's a lot of stuff.
I needed a lot of new tools. So I inherited my dad's garage as part of the workshop, but he had so many old tools. So I went on a shopping spree, and I like everything to match, Mike.
Well, of course.
So all these tools will be useful for my resin crafting.
Yeah,
So
that was a nice bandsaw or jigsaw that you had back there.
I had a bandsaw and a jigsaw. So you're welcome to come over at any time and use them.
Next time I'm back east, I'll come over just to cut some resin.
You can come over. So I'm gonna share one more thing now. I'm gonna share a window. So back to this. So I did promise just some random stuff, Mike.
I like random stuff.
Random stuff. Since we haven't talked in 2 weeks, other than for me to say thank you for hosting the show. I did want to note that Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is getting some good reviews. Oh, oh, there's some arguing. You don't hear arguing. You
Yeah.
don't hear, do you hear it?
No, don't hear, yeah, I can't,
You can hear a little bit.
I
All
can't
right.
hear some mumbling, mumbled arguing.
Mumbling's better. So it's getting some good reviews. I don't know about you, but I have gone ape for many, many years. I have all the Planet of the Apes movies. I have read all the Planet of the Apes novels. I have the Planet of the Apes action figures. I even have the Planet of the Apes television DVD show and watched that as well.
Wow, that's really diving in there.
I'm really diving in there. So, Planet of the Apes, just for those of you who don't know, one of my favorite franchises. These magazines, early magazines, these were published by Marvel, even though they had the Curtis logo. Um, I got to tell you, if you really look deeply at like the color and design of that painting, that's a painting. These were all painted covers. That is damn impressive, is it not?
That was very impressive.
And then this one, obviously, there's a lot going on here, but you know the I don't know, is that a chimpanzee or a monkey of some sort with the explosion
Is that
in
a
the
monkey in
helmet of
space?
the astronaut helmet, chimpanaut.
Something happened on Earth.
Something happened. So inside the stories were black and white, and some were okay. Most were kind of mediocre.
But if you're a Planet of the Apes fan, you got to have everything.
So I am a Planet of the Apes completist. I buy everything apes. There's no ape junk that I don't love. Oh, hold on.
And your dog.
Planet. Oh, hold on. Let's just show this real quick because this is my Planet of the Apes classic trash can. Still use it. I had it since I've a kid. I know it looks like it, but I've had that since I was a wee lad. Even Tim Burton's movie, I will say that it is not my favorite of the Apes movies, but I think it does redeem itself over time. It is not as bad as the criticism that it's gotten. Did you ever see the original one with
the Marky Mark one?
With the Marky Mark? Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those where I didn't hate it. I didn't really like it, but it was fine.
It was fine. The world was fine. I thought he did a great job with the ape prosthetics. I thought it was a pretty good story. Probably not the best of the ape movies, but certainly I'm happy for any apes movie.
The more recent ones have been really good. I've thoroughly enjoyed them.
Oh yeah. Okay, so what else do we have? We have okay. So Planet of the Apes. I wanted to give you this. This always cheers me up. This is evil snowmen about to conquer the Earth. I don't know why they need corncob pipes if they're invaders from another world, but they have those jaunty hats, and from the eyes, they're shooting laser beams.
Now, is their only vulnerability warm weather?
They landed clearly in the winter, and they are invaders from an ice world. I have never read the issue, but I do have it. I don't need to read it. I just wanted the cover.
Just take the cover and put it in some resin. You'll be happy.
I will probably do that. This is another cover that I loved. I'm not into Western. Geronimo Jones was based on something, but you got to figure if you're getting stuck up by a nun
you did
with a revolver, you may want to reassess your life choices.
Your life choices have not been good.
You're like, you've done a terrible deed. Now you must pay. Can you imagine a nun holding you up to a gun? Now you must pay. But sister, I'm innocent. But sister doesn't look like she cares much. She's not wavering at all. She's like ready from the hip. She's like,
yeah.
So this is the kind of stuff that cheers me up, Mike. I'm not sure what cheers you up.
Where do you find these things?
Mike, I constantly scour the internet for the strangest, weirdest covers. I love strange, weird covers. They cheer me up. They are part of my, composite Santa from Robot Chicken.
Yep, that's right. His only
what
weakness.
was that? Was that a
He was a combination of Santa Claus and Frosty the Snowman, and he was a badass thing. But his only weakness was flamethrowers or heat or whatever. So we would always put him in some situation where he got melted. Half of him got melted, and then he would just fall over and be useless.
Glenn pulling out the archives, pulling out the archives. When are we seeing some new Robot Chicken?
Who knows?
Who knows? Say? Does anybody know?
I'm sure somewhere out there somebody knows, but I don't know at the moment. I wish I did.
I wish I did too.
Yeah.
So, Mike, that's it. I don't have too much else. I am grateful for the hard work that you did while I was in mourning. I didn't feel like. Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
Was he venerable to bullets or vulnerable?
That was just one of the lines. It was always like, my only weakness, bullets, or my only weakness, hot, or my only weakness, water. Whatever would kill him, that's what his weakness was.
So Glenn's a super fan. Always is, always will be. So I have to tell you, Mike, it's tough losing anybody. Tough losing the strongest man in my world.
Yeah, well, I am very sorry to hear that. I'm very sorry. He's a good man, that Lou.
I miss Lou. Oh, he did catch that he was not venerable. He was vulnerable, and he says, "I'm doing laundry right now, so give me a break." We're just happy to have you, Glenn. We tease you, but we love you. We're glad that you're here with us.
Yeah, we're close to 1,000 subscribers.
We are
like 28 more or something.
Yeah, but we love each of the subscribers, and especially the ones that join us here online for the show to
they should go out and tell their neighbors and family and friends just to get us up to 1,000.
Yeah, so my dad is watching from heaven, and my mom is not. My mom, when we did Comix Vision, my mother would go, I saw you on the television. I go, oh, really? You were flipping their channels? I saw you. Did you watch the show?
No, she just saw it. Oh, there's Buddy, and flip right away.
The way she said it was like I asked such a stupid question. Did you watch the show? No.
That was a long time ago, but those were good times.
Well, what'd you think of what you saw? I don't know. You should lose weight.
But she did teach you how to do that smile.
So that's it, Mike. Thanks again for hosting the show. Thanks everybody for still joining us and sticking with us. We will see you next week. We might even plan a little bit better, but no guarantees. No guarantees.
That's what we do here.
We'll see you next week with some more comic book education and news. We'll see you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.